DevOps friends, welcome. I'm back. I'm Jochen, the Monospace mentor, and yeah, holidays are finally over once and for all. Well, not for all, but for the time being. I'm back at my home office, back at work, back in the daily grind. And that means I'm back doing live streams, and I have been missing you. How are you? Hey, Sir Puffin, how you doing? So yeah, came back on Wednesday night, and yeah, yesterday was pretty chaotic, and I realized that I had to man the fort alone in the company because my business partner is on holidays as well. And so tech support and all kinds of stuff kept me busy, and family stuff. So no live stream yesterday, which I was hoping for a little bit, but today is the day, and we are doing an office hour. Office hour means you ask questions and I try to answer them. Questions about all kinds of DevOps stuff, IT, career, system administration, software engineering, programming patterns, test-driven development, all kinds of stuff. If you have any questions about that, post them to qa.monospacementor.com, where I'll pick them up. But I just remembered I failed to switch that on. So let me quickly take care of that. So you actually have access. Let me see. I didn't have the time to enable that because I had to leave for the bathroom. So, start session. Here we go. Now, qa.monospacementor.com does work, and you'll be able to log in. No, you don't have to log in. You just go to the website and to the Q&A tab and enter your questions there. I can get them on screen, and people who just joined the stream can get some context what I'm on about. So, let me do the same thing over here so I can visualize things. Here we go. Ba-bim, ba-bum. Present. There we go. That's that. So, yeah, I need to get back into things first. But I think we're set. So, let me check. What's with the spam? Yeah, okay. All right, so excuse me. I finally discovered a game that is going to keep me for a while, that will probably replace World of Warcraft in terms of the amount of time I'm going to spend doing it. And yeah, so I decided to leave World of Warcraft because it started to feel like a job. Because do this week, you have to do this week, otherwise you won't get these bonuses, and if you don't get this in time, then you won't be able to do this. Nope, not going to do this. And so I was looking for another game that I would enjoy, and Final Fantasy XIV is always a great alternative, and I'd like to get back into that as well, because it doesn't feel nearly as much as a chore. And then, I think about a week ago, it's not much more, I discovered another game that's going to be a lot of fun. And ironically, it's a game that simulates having another job. It's Euro Truck Simulator 2. And yeah, it's so much fun. It's so relaxing. I mean, it's quite a nice balance of things. It's a challenge, navigating your big rig through cities and putting trailers where they belong. But on the other hand, once you're on the motorway, it's so easy, and you just drive along and try not to miss your exits, and that's all. So it's very relaxing. You have the droning of your engine. If you like, you have a nice radio station. Of course, I immediately went to the cliché and enabled a country radio station. And yeah, so Euro Truck Simulator seems to be the game for me, even though, yeah, it's basically another job, but it doesn't force you to do stuff, and you can choose whenever you like, and you can quit a delivery, or you can pause a delivery at any time and get back to it the next day or something. So yeah, I am having a lot of fun, and I'm going to try out some mods. So, for example, to get some realistic company names, which they, of course, couldn't put into the game for trademark reasons. But there are, of course, community mods that add these textures and things like that. And so far, I'm having a lot of fun. So Puffin says, Buddy was playing Supermarket Simulator this week. Game is to run your market. Looked pretty neat. It's kind of surprising to me how these things are actually fun. But yeah, I mean, Euro Truck Simulator 2 is all about building your own logistics company with garages all over the place, with people driving for you, and of course you yourself driving as well. And so it's kind of a business simulation, but it also has this nice aspect of you driving around the countryside. And yeah, I'll probably do an ETS2 stream eventually. I'd love to drive my truck around and have a chat with you folks at the same time. But we're not here to talk about my new gaming discoveries. It's about all your questions. And if you have any questions around DevOps and stuff, post them to qa.monospacementor.com. I'll try and answer them. And in the meantime, I think I'm going to look for ETS mods. And I'll look up Supermarket Simulator. Supermarket Simulator game. Supermarket Simulator on Steam. Okay, so you have to take care of stock. Also, take care of the cash register. Do pricing. It's amazing, the kind of simulations that are available nowadays. This is really funny. So I need brutal traffic mod. It's not actually about brutal traffic. I think the author adds brutal in front of all their mods. It's just a mod that increases traffic to a more realistic level, because actually traffic in ETS is pretty thin all day round, actually, day and night. And while that, of course, greatly simplifies driving around and changing lanes and stuff, it doesn't feel really lived in. So having a mod that makes traffic a little bit more realistic is definitely something that I'd like to do. Wait, I can download the mod directly on Steam. How does that even work? Huh. Subscribe to download? What does that mean? Looks like today's not too crowded of a day here. I mean, I don't mind. We'll have someone call from our landlord later anyway, so I'll probably make it a short stream. Finish at 3 p.m. Hey, Sir Puffin. What you working on? Oh, we have a question. Sorry for not noticing immediately, but since we're here and this is my office hour, again, post your questions to qa.monospacementor.com, such as this person just did, saying, my company Software as a Service in Healthcare, USA, was bought by another company in February. The transition/integration has been better than expected, and they have several machine learning teams I'm interested in. I need more training/practice with machine learning. I'm mostly front-end and tier 1 support, but how do I navigate the landscape of the new company? Oh, so you were acquired by another company, and now basically everything's transitioning into the new company. And you'd like to, as far as I can tell, I just tell you what I understand, what I'm understanding. You'd like to maybe get into one of their ML teams. While you still need more training and practice with that topic. Okay. I mean, that's of course highly dependent on the company and its structure, how rigid everything is, or how fluid if you're looking at it from a more positive perspective. I would say it's good that you identified your lack of training and practice, because that's, I think, where you should pick things up. Because if you can make a case that you would be of value to these ML teams you're interested in, then it's going to be much easier to convince the manager responsible, to convince HR to transfer you to a different team. It's quite the hard argument to make, saying, well, I'm interested, I'm curious, I'd like to learn more about this, and therefore I'd like to move into that team. Oh, it's from UserProfin. Thank you for submitting the question. Yeah, I think you'll be much better off if you can make an argument why it would make sense for the business to transfer you to one of these teams. Because, yeah, interest, ambition, everyone can put that forward. But if you have actual knowledge, if you have actual skills that you can, so you can make the case that they'll benefit from you joining them, that is where your chances will be much better. Which means, get your hands dirty, do some machine learning stuff, install Python and whatever you need, and start getting into things. I'm pretty sure there's lots of literature around, and tutorials and stuff on YouTube and in blogs if you are more inclined to read stuff instead of watching videos. I mean, that's the way I would go about things if I wanted to convince someone to hire me, even just internally in a company I'm already employed at. There needs to be a reason to go through all the hassle of transferring you, onboarding you into a new team and all these things. And I'm curious is not good enough of an argument. Does it make sense?
Hike the planet! Hike the planet!
Shut up and get in the car!
Hike the planet!
It's Balthazar. Thank you for the subscription. That's so kind of you. Hey, how you doing? One of the VIPs in the Monospace community. Welcome, Balthazar. Happy Friday. Exactly, Sir Profin. Just see where you can reserve some time for practice and deepening your knowledge and skills, and that's the kind of weapon that you can then take into battle. Late start, only starting now. Well deserved, I'm sure. Well deserved late start. Enjoy your coffee. I already had my morning coffee a long time ago because as I posted in Discord yesterday, I came back from holidays, checked my spam folder, which I do once in a while, and found an email from the agency representing our landlord. If they could come by on Friday to do a short inspection of the premises. And yeah, that's when panic set in, and we went into house cleaning overdrive. And now we're waiting for them to arrive. And at the same time, I realized that I was alone in the virtual office because my business partner already went on holidays before I even returned. So for the next 2 weeks, I'll have to take care of tech support as well. And so yesterday was pure chaos, and I'm very happy that today is much more structured, and so far going all right, and I'm pretty sure the inspection will be all right too. But yeah, that's a bit of a stress peak ahead of the weekend. No coffee for me now. I have my trusty water bottle, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a surprise inspection. They sent the email on Monday, I think, but for some reason it ended up in my spam folder, and I'm happy that I actually noticed it when I came back yesterday. They actually didn't see my response then either, so I had to call them today and asked if they would call, because we've been waiting for all morning. And yeah, they said, no, they didn't get my email, and if 3 p.m. would be okay, which is going to be in half an hour. So we have another half hour to do what we are here to do, which is answering your questions. Post your questions to qa.monospacementor.com. I'll get them on screen and I'll try to answer them. All kinds of DevOpsy questions, software engineering, system administration, career questions like Sir Puffin just had. All kinds of stuff is fine by me. No, I'm actually not using Gmail, Balthazar. But yeah. So Puffin said, when I worked in a hospital, our governing board would always give us surprise inspections, always ruined the day, I can imagine. Where was it? I think it was Frankfurt Airport, on our way back. At the security check, everyone was busy and there was only one person in a suit standing and looking important, and I'm pretty sure that was an inspection as well, because yeah, it seemed that way. Everyone was busy working like he wasn't standing there, and so yeah, I can feel for these people. I just noticed that he once shouted something and then went off in the other direction. I had no idea what was happening, but he looked as if he were an inspector. But Thesar has some experiences in that regard too. Don't miss the Medicare audits at the outpatient surgical center I worked at either. Dude, you worked at all kinds of places. That's really varied experience you have there. I'm having trouble logging into my Steam account, which is not good because I wanted to install some mods for Euro Truck Simulator. Let me see. Oh, I haven't moved the authenticator over to my new phone, that's why. All right. Moving over. All right, let's see. Approved. Now we're cooking. First novel, hey, how you doing? Bethesda says that one was a trip having to go scrub up to go into an active operating room to troubleshoot an X-ray CT MRI viewer workstation was neat the first couple of times. Ah, yeah, that reminds me of working at a nuclear power plant where you had to go through through all kinds of hoops to get near the control center and do technical work there. They had interesting IT stuff. First time I was around there, my mom knew the IT head of IT over there, and he showed me around the small data center they had, and they ran what I now know was an IBM System 36, I think. And a few years later, I even ended up doing freelance software development for them, not on the IBM system, just for PCs, but yeah, it was my entry into professional software development. Yeah, good IBM. He actually showed me some code, of course, that I, of course, also didn't understand. It was written in, what's it called? It starts with R. It's not RPN, because that's a reverse Polish notation. That's what my pocket calculator does. It's not RPG, because that's World of Warcraft. What's that? The language used with old IBM mainframes called IBM main. Oh, is it RPG? Yeah. Okay. So I'm that's so I tripped over the ambiguity there, right? RPG programming language. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so it was some kind of RPG code that was basically just taking input that came from forms displayed by an IBM terminal and storing it in some kind of a database kind of file, I guess, some kind of an indexed file format. It was early days. It was the late 80s, I think. Yeah, must have been mid 80s, something like that. And in terms of IBM terminals, you probably would have to use a rocket-propelled grenade. These things were pretty sturdy, and they're part of the reason why I now have a Model F keyboard behind me and sometimes on my desk. They had these big F122 terminal keyboards with 24 function keys and additional terminal function keys as well. These things were pretty impressive. I'm pretty sure they imprinted my affinity for keyboards. I considered getting an F122 multiple times in recent months and years, but I just can't justify the expense. It would have been another 600 euros, so just to have this big battleship on my desk, which I probably wouldn't use often enough anyway, so it would be nice, but not really worth the expense, I guess. I have my F62 back there in the HHKB layout that I prefer, and I should actually put that on my desk over the weekend. I've been typing on my split keyboard for months now, I think, at least for many weeks, just to get more and more prolific typing in the Colmac layout, and so far it's going quite well. It's getting into muscle memory, and I'm becoming more prolific using it. Yeah, we'll see. There's another question. So let me get it on screen for you. Question is, what are your thoughts on password managers providing TOTP support? Would you recommend users to use them to keep their TOTPs? I guess I would, probably, because I'm doing it myself. I use 1Password. I've been using 1Password for many years now. I have a family account for my family. I have a business account for my company. And it's very convenient having a password manager, adding the OTP strings as well. Where I can use my YubiKey, I use that too, but I find it very convenient, and I don't think there's much of a downside to using your password manager for TOTP. So if I'm not missing something severe, I guess, yeah, I'll probably recommend doing that. 1Password is, I think, still pretty decent and not too enshittified, even though they've been growing a lot and definitely targeting the enterprise market. But so far, I'm still happy. And if push comes to shove, I can always switch to something like, oh dear, what's it called? It's not BitKeeper and it's also not BitLocker. Names, how do they even work? Help me out. Bethesda says, if I had infinite time and money, I'd design a super battle station keyboard with a touchscreen monitor and all sorts of additional software. You do know that that's called a laptop. Just kidding. That sounds like a great cyber deck, actually. Speaking of touchscreen monitor with a keyboard, I'm still pretty happy with my Starlight Mark V. It works well as a tablet with the on-screen keyboard in Ubuntu. and it works well with the added keyboard. It works well with Bluetooth keyboards as well. I'm pretty happy with it. It has basically replaced my 14-inch laptop by now. Bethesda says there's a Chinese outfit making things like this, but they're not the most reliable. Unfortunately, that applies to most Chinese outfits nowadays. Yeah, there are a lot of interesting things out there. I mean, if you go to Hackaday, they have great articles about stuff that people built themselves, maybe 3D printed or something. And just the other day, I saw something that looked pretty amazing. What really, really great design. It only had a very tiny keyboard though, with rubber keys, I think. Ortholinear, because probably that was also the most convenient to design and print. But I can't imagine myself typing on these rubber keys a lot, especially if you have to basically type with your index fingers alone, because these keys seem to be relatively small. So touch typing, I'm not sure if that would be possible. But yeah, people come up with the most adorable designs. So yeah, in terms of your question about OTP, that's basically my stance on it. I do use 1Password with its TOTP support. Sometimes I use YubiKey, and I don't think I'm missing anything, not even in terms of safety. Thindle joining us, asking, does anyone else remember the old RSA security fob number generators? I did have one, actually, because I needed one to get into the data center at the internet service provider. I had my first IT management job. So yeah, I had one of these that kept creating new numbers all the time. Yeah, and they weren't too great, you're right. I did have one on my keychain, actually. I didn't have to enter the data center often, because, as I said, I was a manager, and so most of the time the people in my teams had to, but of course, once in a while, I had to get down there because it was down in the basement of the company HQ. I had to go down there eventually, and Thindle says, I like leaking my password, so I'm on LastPass for management. Are you for real? And I'm using MS Authenticator and my Samsung phone's built-in for 2FA. All right. LastPass? Really? Where are we in time? Okay, 2:47. Yeah, I'll probably have to end on time today, making it actually just 1 hour from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. because we'll have an important visitor later. So don't want to miss that. But there's still time, so if you have any questions, post them to qa.monospacementor.com. And I will do my best to answer your questions. Thindle says, when I log into a Google service, Android sends me a notification. Microsoft Auth is basically Google Auth, but with better entry and Microsoft 365 integration. Yeah, I think everything is better than Google Authenticator. I still remember first switching to Authy when I realized how inconvenient Google Authenticator was, and then 1Password added the OTP functionality, and yeah, switched to that and never looked back. that is definitely a good aspect. I think that's the only safety aspect that I could think of myself as well, Balthasar. I personally don't like having my TOTPs protected by the same credentials as the rest of my secrets. That's definitely a downside. That is a downside, yeah, I'll have to admit that. It means that I do trust 1Password, of course. But I think I am justified in doing so because my vault is also protected by a strong passphrase. So getting access to my passwords and in the process to my OTP codes would still require a lot of things going wrong. So that's why I think in practice I'm okay. Tindall says, I never liked Authy. I don't either. I think I have 4 accounts left managed by Authy, and 2 of them are for SendGrid, which is also a Twilio company, and that's why they require Authy as their 2-factor application, and the other ones are actually my 1Password accounts, so they are actually secured by Authy as well. We have to bootstrap stuff some way. Tindall says I need my fingerprint to get into Microsoft Authenticator. I think it's okay. Yep, guess so. It's just another factor too. As long as you don't lose your fingers. Yeah. I'm not used too much to biometric authentication. My computers don't have it. Even my laptops don't. And so I'm still with more conventional ways to authenticate. And I think a YubiKey, for example, is definitely something that works across many different hardware platforms. This is not good when they leak their entire production database for the 3rd freaking time. Yeah, that's the reason for my reaction earlier. If I were you, I would try and get off LastPass as quickly as I could. Too many times, too many failures. All right, last round of questions. If you have any questions on system administration or programming or any kind of an IT question, post it to qa.monospacementor.com where I'll pick it up and try and answer it. We still have about 5 or 10 minutes to go. So I think I can get 1 or 2 questions in, and then I'll call it a day and venture off into the weekend. And hopefully I'll be back next week with 3 live streams as usually scheduled. If things settle in a little bit more, I'm optimistic that they will, so we'll see. Fingers crossed. There's another question. If you had to choose between x86 and ARM in a production environment, when will you introduce FeedCam and HotHub on stream? I don't think I'll be able to fit in HotHub, so we'll probably have to make do with the FeedCam. And I have very nice toe socks on all the time because used to wear Vibram 5 fingers all the time, and that's why all my socks are actually actually toe socks. So I'll show them off, at least in a subscribers only stream, I guess. What is probably going to come, on a more serious note, but also fun note, is probably an Euro Truck Simulator stream. I'll check out things, and so there will be a stream with monospace logistics. Here's a more practical question. How the heck do I set up a Docker container auto start on Linux? And what would you use to map MyURL port 80 to localhost 8010 on the Linux hosts? I guess those are those two separate questions? Are they related? Not sure. Let's tackle the first one first. Set up a Docker container auto start. I mean, you can always handwire things using systemd, but I probably would take a look at Quadlet. Not sure if Quadlet is limited to Fedora distributions, but it's a very convenient way to manage containers. Quadlet is basically, as far as I can tell, an extension of the systemd unit files, where you can add more container-specific stuff, and that way Quadlet makes it easy to start services in Linux in containers, in Docker containers actually, or in OCI containers. It doesn't have to be Docker; it can be Podman as well. I think Quadlet actually builds on Podman. And so Quadlet definitely makes things easier, but you can always build your own service unit file that makes systemd start your container at boot. And to map a domain name to a development instance running on localhost, I would probably use one of the more convenient proxy servers that are around. Caddy, for example, comes to mind. And I think there are others as well. There is, for example, a Docker image called Nginx Proxy Manager, which basically is Nginx combined with a nice web user interface where you can set up your different mappings. That's something that you can use as well. It's what I actually use on my home lab here to make the different services that I'm running, like Jellyfin and things like that, available with a nice and easy to memorize host name. So there are lots of options. If you have more questions like that, pop into our Discord server. And also consider joining the Monospace community called the Server Room, where you basically have the ideal place to ask these kinds of questions, because there are lots of people who are happy to weigh in with their experience and with tool recommendations and things like that. The entry fee is moderate. It's I think by now it's almost less than a monthly Twitch subscription. So if you want to support me financially for my work and get something in return as well, something quite substantial, I might say, then the Server Room is definitely an option. And Tintle, you can always use a different name, so we don't actually know that you are the noob. So don't worry about that. The Server Room is a safe space. You can always ask stuff there, regardless if you consider it stupid or not. We will not. Bethesda adds, with regard to vanilla Docker, you can supply a restart policy that can, in addition to handle container failures, can also auto-start containers when the Docker daemon comes online. That was my suspicion, actually. If you start a container with the with this restart option, I suspected that it would apply at boot time as well. I just wasn't sure. So if you do restart policy, with on failure or even always, that would probably then take care. No, on failure means if it's running and it fails, then restart it. It wouldn't probably automatically start at boot without a failure ahead. Yeah, that's something to check out as well. So Puffing joining the Noob League. Hey, we are all noobs in some way or another. Bethesda says, to paraphrase the wise and all-knowing Jake the dog, being a noob at something is the first step to being kind of elite at something. Oh, that's very nice. We need to memorize that. Thickdal joining us as well. Would this count as another username? This is my bot account, by the way. Just trying to be funny leaving now. It's a bit too transparent, I'm afraid. All right, so yeah, I hope that answers your question at least in some way. Just to summarize, Docker Container Auto Start, you can use the restart option when you run the container, and that will, as far as I understand it now, make sure that when Docker comes up next time, it'll boot the container automatically. And then check out Nginx Nginx Proxy Manager, which is a Docker image itself. That makes it very easy and convenient to map stuff to a localhost address or to any address you want, actually. And the Nginx Proxy Manager also comes with Let's Encrypt support, which means you'll even be able to actually get SSL support there as well. Caddy, of course, has all that stuff built in already, which makes it a great alternative, whatever floats your boat. And I guess that's it for today, because I'll have to finish and get some family things done, and then I'll be off into the weekend trying to install a few nice mods into Euro Truck Simulator, try out the new steering wheel that I got myself, together with pedals. And yeah, maybe we'll see an ETS stream with Monospace Logistics next week, but we'll definitely have some co-working streams and, of course, another office hour coming up. So I hope to see you next week. Wish you a great weekend, and until next time, take care.